The men of Rohan are marching to a war, and their foe is a fierce one. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. Today we have an epic 1 vs 1 between the men of Rohan and Dol Guldur. This battle should be explosive, as we have the gruesome cavalry of Rohan moving around the flanks already, and the pretty much stationary defense of Dol Guldur with their thick armor and their blades drawn as they prepare themselves. And as you can see, this is a pretty good formation they've actually set up against Rohan. They expect the assaults to come in around the flank. They've got a very sturdy line here of pikes in the center that will basically shut down any aggressive play that Rohan have. They obviously got a big group of archers. These are just the Mirkwood trackers. They're pretty cheap and they don't really do a lot. However, they're pretty cheap, so they kind of pay for themselves eventually. And we also have 2 units of Mordor glaives on the flanks as well. They need to be extremely careful with these guys. Again, sticking them right here is always dangerous, because a unit of Rohan cavalry can come around riders of the mark and they can absolutely annihilate that shock infantry, because shock infantry just cannot handle a frontal charge at all. Again, taking a look at some of the Rohan forces, you can see on their flanks, they do just have some riders of Rohan, so not really investing massively in that. However, we do have a unit of Knights of the Mark. This is one of the most expensive units that Rohan can bring, and yeah, throw at the enemy is such a good unit. Basically beat pretty much any cavalry unit in the game that it wants to. We also have a unit of Erlin retainers in the front line as well. Again, Rohan only do get this 1 unit of sword infantry, which is pretty decent. Like, it's an elite unit, however it's expensive, and that's going to allow Dol Guldur, if they get their shock infantry into this unit, it's going to dissipate extremely quickly. We also have King Theoden right here leading them then with his gorgeous model right there. He's a little bit cross-eyed, but hey, maybe he's just trying to see what his nose is up to. Then on the flank, we also have another unit of spearmen as well. So yeah, right now we're seeing kind of the Dol Guldur player playing extremely defensive, looking to set up this new box. And as you guys know, I am one who does not think a new box is good whatsoever. I think the new box is extremely easy to pick apart, because when you look at it, the player who is forming that box forms their forces. They spread their money across every single flank, and that's 4 flanks they have to try and protect, whereas the attacking player can really just try and use that hammer and chisel and just try and smash through one of them flanks, so they can commit way more soldiers to maybe the front, maybe the back, wherever they decide to do it. Yes, it does stop up the cavalry from really getting themselves stuck in, and it stops the cavalry from finding them gaps, but these archers can just all focus down the pikes. The cavalry can hammer in here, just keep on going in and out and in and out, and there's not really a lot the defending player can do. So I'm already assuming that the Rohan player is going to crack this. We're just going to have to see how well. And oh boy, this is a little bit scary right here. Seeing this shock infantry on the flanks, yeah, is very dangerous. A charge from these riders of Rohan, again, even though they're not the strongest unit in the world, they're still a Rohan cavalry, and they will get deep into that that battalion if they need to. We do have one of the, what are these? These are the mouth of Nazgul. Oh, we've got a Nazgul right now. Okay, awesome. Servants of the Eye, led by a Nazgul right there. These Nazgul came in one of the more recent updates. I believe as well as that, Dol Guldur do actually have a named Nazgul that they can bring as well. So right now, Rohan are just kind of really circling around, seeing what they can be up to. And again, yeah, I'm not sure if the Dol Guldur player understands that this is just extremely scary if he's not careful. Because yeah, that unit, that cavalry will rip apart. Also, even just going into the back here as well, the defensive player has gone very defensive there, and that rear defense is extremely thin. Cavalry could rip through that. But as we know, Rohan isn't exactly the strongest frontline infantry faction. How many units do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 units of infantry. It's going to be hard to crack this. And again, what I would personally do is probably have my shock infantry like here and like here, and as soon as this infantry gets committed, I would throw myself at them, and I think, these Mordor blades would rip them apart. But right now, the cavalry is starting to swoop around. I like that the defensive player who's formed this new box hasn't sat on the red line at all. And yeah, this cavalry moving around here can really shape up here, because this front line is just not deep enough. You need to be like 4 ranks deep to be able to withstand a cavalry charge. The Mirkwood trackers, though, are unleashing hell. A nice little volley off there onto the archers, trying to whittle down these yeomans of the mark. But Rohan are pretty good when it comes to returning fire. I actually have a surprisingly decent archer force. Not obviously the best, not going to challenge the elves or anything along them lines, but you know, for a mid-tier faction on the ground, Rohan actually do a decent job. And you can see them arrows flying off right now, just solely focusing. And again, this is one of the weak points of a new box, is that the attacking player can just focus so much of his firepower, his infantry, his cavalry on one part of it. And yes, you can start to, you know, constrict the new box in as you lose men, but that ends up leaving you out of position, and then the attackers can really exploit it. And yeah, just absolutely annihilating these pikes. They're definitely struggling. Missile Fire is doing a decent job at returning fire as well. Unfortunately, not able to pick up a single unit right now, though. The Mirkwood Trackers, yeah, all on 0 kills. And here we go. The cavalry's going to kind of come in. I mean, I would just do it. Yeah, you're going to get countercharged by the infantry, which is maybe what they're a little bit scared of. But you'll rip through these guys, I think. I assume so. Like, most heavy shot cavalry, again, this is only medium shot cavalry, but I would assume frontally charging Goldor Glaives, even though they are very heavy shot infantry, I think you'd still come out on top there, and we'll have to see. I think right now, though, the Yeomans of the Mark, these 4 units, is down to half ammunition. Pretty much killed this unit of Goldor Pikes. Now the infantry are moving in as well, and you can just see the player moving in. I loved, oh, look at that. The box is getting closer and closer. The infantry moving in, the archers getting a little bit closer as well. And even trying to focus again, this is one of the other really scary things. And boom, the boa constrictor has been sent. And now the Knights of the Mark are going to just tear these guys apart. Look at that, sending so many of them flying. And as I was saying, one of the other real, like, kind of struggling things you're going to run into in a new box is that the archers can just decimate your general as well, because he has nowhere to run. He can't go back and kind of hide. And just like that, you can see the cavalry moving around, getting right into these Mirkwood Trackers, into the back of this new box as well, hitting the infantry from the back. And I imagine this unit of cavalry already has a ton of kills. Yeah, 76 units on that one. Theoden has 42, and this other one has over 100 as they just rip back out. Again, you need much denser battle lines right there. And all that time, you have the archers shooting. Again, the archers can shoot into the backs of these other units that are facing to defend against the cavalry. So I just don't think a new box is really very viable, and it's quite easy to pick away. I mean, like, look at this back line now. Like, all of a sudden, what do? Your back lines has been torn to shreds, and maybe you could have been a bit more condensed, like do it from like here. But even then, you know, that cavalry will just continue to come in, and your general's running scared as well. The general's kind of come out a little bit now, looking to try and chase down Theoden and trying to avoid the missiles. But all of a sudden, you've got Knights of the Mark coming in from every single side. And even with the Nazgul being one of the strongest fighting units in a melee cavalry situation, even they're going to struggle here. You know, just all the cavalry coming in right now. That's the general taken care of. That is for sure a freeway sandwich with Nazgul in the middle. Absolutely perfect. The archers are coming in, and yeah, I feel pretty bad for this new box. I mean, I don't feel bad because new boxes deserve to be destroyed like this, but it's good to see players being able to, you know, dismantle the box like this. You know, you just don't have to commit your infantry. You know, obviously you're going to run out of archers eventually, but you've done your damage at that point. And again, you can just like avoid these points to attack. You can kind of come in through here, avoid these pikes, maybe just like attack this section with 2 units. And, you know, if the pikes want to open up like this to try and stop you, then all of a sudden your cavalry comes flying through. These Mirkwood Trackers are actually awful. They're like 200 gold, so they're absolutely, like, you know, worth taking because they're so cheap just to fill out numbers. But my god, another cavalry charge coming in right now as well. And you can see these Riders of Rohan, which are a little bit weaker, you know, do struggle a little bit more. Not as many entities get through. I think if they were to charge these riders in first, they probably wouldn't have broken through that 3 rank deep. But, you know, at this point, they've already been hit by Knights of the Mark, and they are really struggling. The infantry are now in as well, so we can get some nice little close-ups of the men of Rohan cutting down Dol Guldur. And I think, you know, their days are numbered. And you can see, like, again, you know, there's just nowhere for Dol Guldur, because all of a sudden, if they want to try and dismantle this new box themselves, then they're, you know, taking these units. Like, right now, these units right here just aren't doing anything. And these are, like, expensive units. Dol Guldur are not a cheap faction at all. And yeah, all of a sudden, you're having to then defend this. You've got kind of infantry charging in. I really think kind of just holding the shock infantry back would have been a great idea behind the battle lines and then throwing them forward as soon as Rohan committed. I think they'd really tear them apart. Even though these are decent swordsmen from Rohan, I don't think they can really stand against the strength of that shock infantry, because the dog wall blades are very deadly. I mean, look at that, all of a sudden, you know, another rear charge right there going right into the back. And, you know, it's just a great way of punishing these static defenses that I'm going to do. And you can already see, like, the strength of Nazgul's right there. That unit's been surrounded for a good 2-3 minutes and is just doing nothing. The men of Rohan have got through, slaughtered the pikemen, able to break through. And, all, yeah, look at that. The center is broken. The egg has been cracked. And now it's time for Rohan to come in. And again, we're finally going to see, yeah. I'm interested. What is that? Is that Knight? Yeah, that's the Riders of Rohan. Do these guys lose many? I mean, yeah, they don't even lose any. I mean, luckily the morale is awful. And yeah, able just to rip these guys apart. Yeah, so hopefully this was a good learning curve for the defensive player. Because you just cannot let shock infantry get charged by cavalry. They'll just decimate them, especially Rohan cavalry, which is just so normally so goddamn deadly. The way to beat Rohan is to crack their center. You know, if I was Dumbledore, I would have brought maybe some more pikemen and just literally sat them at the back, defending my flanks, and just let my shock infantry and my other units kind of just rip apart Rohan from the center. Because if they would have done that, I think they would have had a very good chance. You just kept the pikes protecting, like almost as a new box, but pushing your infantry forward so that you are constantly engaging the men of Rohan in them front lines. Because Rohan's infantry, yeah, would not be able to stand up to these Goldor glaives at all. And it's only the cavalry that's been able to do stuff like this, which is allowing them to, you know, even stay in the same battlefield as them. Because normally Goldor glaives would, you know, spread these guys on some butter and there you go. Full route, you know, full route there right off the bat. And that cavalry, you know, the whole point of the new box as well was to defend from this cavalry. You know, that's the reason the player decided to form that new box. So, oh, I'm fighting Rohan. You know, I want to be very careful there. I don't want to overcommit, so let's form this box so the cavalry can't get in. But you see, even doing that, the cavalry dominated. So I think the best way to, you know, if you're seeing you're playing as Rohan, bring more spears. I'm pretty sure Dumbledore get access to Goldor spears. If not, then, you know, it's a little bit tougher. Maybe bring some more pikes, maybe some more fodder infantry to try and bog them down. Definitely bring in some more cavalry if they get access to Servants of the Eye. Again, they might just have access to no cavalry, which again is a harder one, but then maybe supplement that with some more spearmen. And yeah, just sit them at the back line. And, you know, if the cavalry try and outflank you, the spears are there, shield walled, and then, you know, whilst that's all going on, you have your Goldor blades and your Goldor, your Goldor glaives just going to town, ripping through the infantry. Because with the support of the cavalry, even the Rohan infantry did decent. This one getting over 200 kills, but I think this unit was one of the ones that actually managed to get onto the Mirkwood trackers sitting in the back. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.